Hey, this is DragonFeather, and I'm here to talk about atheistic witchcraft. I mentioned atheistic witchcraft in my video on my COLLAB channel, and that I was venturing more towards it, and a lot of people were wondering what it was. So, there's not a lot of information out there on atheistic witchcraft, unfortunately, but of the stuff that I have read and inferred myself is that the simplest way to put it is to just take the definition of both atheist and witchcraft and kind of mush them together. And the actual definition for atheist is someone who doesn't believe in God or gods, or gods or goddesses kind of thing. And the definition for witchcraft is the practice of using magic. And those are the pretty much clear and concise definitions I got. However, witchcraft is much more than practicing just magic. It's a way of life too. So when you put those two together, it's someone who doesn't believe in a god or gods, but practices the craft of witchcraft. Now this doesn't mean that someone who is an atheistic witch isn't spiritual. And by this I mean atheists just don't believe in God or gods, from all the ones that I have talked to. However, some of them have told me that they believe in a higher power, such as the power of nature would be one of them. And because of this reason, some atheists are very spiritual and believe in a higher power. If any of you guys have watched A Broom and the Moon, I'm not sure if she still is, but last time I watched her video, she claimed to be a atheistic witch. If she's not that way anymore, forgive me, but she has done some videos on it, and if I can find them, I'll leave the link below for you to check them out. Also, witchcraft is the practice of the craft, or the practice of using magic, using magic, not like Hollywood magic, using magic is to manipulate energy to make change. And that's all it is, pretty much. So because of all of that, just because you're an atheistic witch does not mean that you can't be spiritual. Just because you don't believe in gods or God, doesn't mean that you can't be spiritual. Just because you don't believe in the gods doesn't mean you cannot work with their energies. Now, this can get controversial. And believe me, I know, I got into a heated discussion about it with some of my friends, but I like Isis. I like what she represents to me, and I like who she is. I love her stories. I love all of that. But do I believe she actually exists as a goddess? And now, I might offend some people by saying this, but I don't believe she's an actual being that sits on a throne over the Nile River in some spiritual place as her personification, how we depict her in pictures and in stories. No, I do not believe that. However, I do believe her energies are very much alive because humans keep her alive and worship her. And because we put energy into something, we make it come to life. Like, let's say, my skull right here. If I told you that my skull was alive, to me, if he was alive, you couldn't change my mind. So, and you can feel certain things with certain objects. It's all about how you perceive them and how you take them in and how you interpret what you feel when you're around them. That makes something alive or not. Now, that term is used very loosely, but if you want to get very specific, the term of being alive, like living and breathing, rather than an inanimate object like my skull, or say my cell phone or a peacock feather, those would be considered inanimate objects, I suppose. I mean, maybe a feather wouldn't be considered an inanimate object, but we're not going to go into what's alive and what's not alive. But my cat down there, she's alive. Aren't you, Keisha? Yes, she is. So, with atheistic witchcraft, some atheists are not spiritual at all. I have atheistic friends who are not spiritual at all. They're like, I don't buy it. I don't buy any of that. I don't buy spirituality. I don't buy gods. I don't buy goddesses. I don't No, none of it. And some of them won't have any of it, and that's fine. But some atheists are very spiritual, and I have an atheist friend who loves to meditate. That's what she does. And because of that, she has a very full life, but she doesn't worship any gods. She doesn't worship, you know, any particular people in specific. She doesn't, like, worship a pantheon. She just works with energies, and she works with energies that she feels in meditation. And, you know, we get into arguments sometimes about what's real and not real, but everyone perceives the world differently. That's why everybody has different opinions. And so, because of that reason, if someone said the sky was green and you said the sky was blue, you tried to tell the person who thought the sky was green that the sky was blue, you wouldn't be able to change their mind if they truly believed it. It doesn't matter what you do. They're not going to change unless they want to. So that's kind of a tangent, but atheistic witchcraft, going more into it, is the practice of witchcraft for maybe a more spiritual purpose. Now, some people who I've read some things on the internet that I will put links down below as well, that some of them say on one website, that she said that her practice of witchcraft is very far away from her being atheist. Like, they aren't connected any more than that everything is connected in the world. That's what she said. The only way they're connected is because everything is connected. And that might be confusing, but I don't really have any other way of explaining it, and I'm sorry. But she also said, on the same page, that she just practices witchcraft as witchcraft, and she doesn't label herself an atheistic witch. She just calls herself a witch when people ask about, do you practice witchcraft? She's like, yeah, I practice witchcraft. I'm a witch. But when people ask her about her religion, she says, I'm atheist. She doesn't attach, I'm an atheistic witch to it. So you don't have to be an atheistic witch. You can be an atheist and, like, not have them work together, not have your atheism and your witchcraft work together, or you can. And if you are, then you can say you're an atheistic witch. I mean, it's all about labeling and all about how you want to put yourself out there and how you want to call yourself. But at the end of the day, it's really all up to how you feel. And if you think atheistic witchcraft is great for you, then great, be an atheistic witch. If you don't want to call yourself an atheistic witch, you don't have to call yourself anything. You can just be like, I'm a spiritual person. And that's where it has to end. Like, it's not a big deal at all. And people in atheistic witchcraft, some witches do adopt the more Wiccan Wheel of the Year, and they use the different holidays that Wiccans do. And when people do that, some people get confused, like, aren't you Wiccan if you do that? And no, not necessarily. And some atheistic witches have a god and goddess side on their altar and have a god and goddess candle, but they don't worship it. And they just work with the energies. And I think that's where most people get confused, is working with energies versus actually worshiping the god and the goddess. And some people don't even work with the energies and just have their own altars the way they want, kind of their own way. The Wiccan development of an altar with a god and goddess side, that's a very Wiccan altar. And there's a video that Nathan did, who's on our collab channel, on his personal channel, about avoiding the Wiccan layout of an altar. And I'll also put that link in the below, why not? In the below, yeah, that's my English. And he tries to avoid very, gender-specific items in this video of him making a Mabon altar. And, which, it's a beautiful altar, it's a lovely altar, and, like, please go check it out because it's amazing. But he just tries to make it specific to the season and specific to what's going on around, like putting things that represent that time of the season to him, and not, like, using God and using goddess. And he doesn't have that at all. I mean, he has candles, but they're not for God and goddess. I don't even think he has anything on there necessarily for spirits, like different kinds of spirits, like how I work for the killer whale. I have an altar for that because I work with freaking killer whales. Like, that's what I do. And it works for me. But because I believe in the spirit of a killer whale helping me doesn't make me, doesn't mean I can't be an atheist. So I'm not labeling myself as an atheistic witch yet. I'm still researching it. Still trying to decide if it's what I want for myself. But all in all, that's what atheistic witchcraft is the practice of magic, but not believing in gods or goddesses. Or they're not even they're not even related if you don't want them to be. So yeah, make sure to check out the links below and go check out Nathan's altar because it's really beautiful. And if you guys have any questions, contact me through Tumblr or Facebook or YouTube, and I will get back to you guys. And until next time, blessed be, and bye!